But first, rescued principal Rachel Alamu delivers a deeply moving testimony, revealing that she prayed that her grave will not be in the forest of Ogbomoso. Let's watch.
The 7th week was the hardest for us all. That was when the troop increased their hair rates. It was so intense and persistent that at a point, the fear of the bandits became secondary. We were just praying that missiles will not be accidentally dropped on us. But God kept us because we were so exposed, only covered with polythene bags and grasses. So amidst that fear, God consoled our hearts. And that week, it started on Monday. They had told us the previous week that the governor said that before Friday the next week we will be released. So we were calm. But when the hearing started on Tuesday, they become so furious. Later in the night, we started hearing shovels walking. My men, the two of them, were shouting, Mama, lo shovel, amanguro shovel. Money, one shishek and lower ni. I was crying as I was saying because we all knew what that meant. They were about to bury another person. The place was so terrible that anything could have happened that place. I just told God, my grave should not be numbered in the forest. And God helped me. We were in a place that when you are shaking with fever, the first question is it malaria you have or fever? And the solution is 2 tablets of paracetamol. At worst, Bosca, or whatever they call that name. That last week on Sunday, because of the stress I had gone through on the 7th week, I broke down. My temperature was on the roof and I was shaking. So I just called one of them, the camp commander, Oga, can I have 2 tablets of paracetamol? I said, no problem. The woman sitting next to me said, Mommy, this is not paracetamol. I said, God will work with it. I used that paracetamol, and to the glory of God, it was as if I was never having the symptoms of malaria. So God saw us, it was God's hand. The release was miraculous. So I give glory unto the Lord. I thank God for what He has done.
Well, this testimony puts a human face on what we have been reporting as a security and political story. For 56 days, the world debated who was responsible. Politicians traded accusations, and Governor Seyi Makinde called for a UN probe. But Mrs. Alamu and the others were in a forest covered with polythene bags, and she prayed not to die there. It is a sobering reminder that even successful rescue operations come with a human cost that statistics never capture, because Mrs. Alamu returned home, but returned changed, and has not yet decided whether she will go back to the school where she worked for 28 years. Nigeria owes her and every teacher the assurance that no Nigerian educator will ever have to pray their grave away from that forest or from a forest again. Good morning, Dr. Abati. Good morning, Ayo. Good morning, Rufai. You were saying behind the scenes that thank God it was a Thanksgiving and not a burial, not a funeral. We thank God that she's alive. And this past Sunday, she went out there to thank God and, gave these graphic details, really just summarizing the fact that, the security forces came out to their rescue, and their ordeal was quite the story, Ayo. It was quite heartbreaking. But before I come to you, Dr. Abati, I believe, meanwhile, heartbreaking videos are coming out of Plateau State, where scores of people were killed on Saturday, July 26, when terrorists attacked a village in Mangu Local Government Area of the state. In a video shared by Equipping the Persecuted, families were seen mourning their loved ones by a graveside. Let's take a look.
Yami kaula Yesu jinga sada herisa yala shi Sotaro Rinsa Itamurera Wakamuya Digirma Sunasa.
May their souls rest in peace. According to reports, the terrorists stormed the village around 1:30 p.m. on Saturday, opening fire indiscriminately and burning homes. Troops of Sector 9 Operation Enduring Peace were swiftly deployed, evacuating many civilians to safety. But tragically, one soldier, Lance Corporal Yusuf Zakari, was shot and killed in a fierce gun battle while positioning himself as a blocking force between the terrorists and the community. May his soul rest in peace. Dr. Abati, this marks yet another assault on communities in Plateau State. Over 50 lives have been lost since June 1st alone. I'd like you to tie in both stories before we take more security
All
topics.
of these stories point to the dangerous, frustrating, precarious situation in which we live in Nigeria. These are no happy stories. Yes, Thanksgiving for Mrs. Alamu and the students and some of the teachers who survived in the Oriri local government incident. But again, she was given a narration with a lot of pain in her heart. Yeah, she has returned to her family, others have returned their families, but there are still about 2 other women. The woman whose husband was beheaded, the other teacher who was also killed. So all round, it's not a good comment on the plight of the average citizen in Nigeria, nor is it a good comment particularly on the fortunes of teachers in the Nigerian community or the young people in whom we invest a lot of hopes.
Correct.
About the future.
Right.
But beyond all of that, the lesson of that particular experience and also that of Plateau State, where people were just killed in broad daylight, and this was described in the reports as a case of Christian massacre, which you then, give the impression, further affirm, those who talk about Christian persecution in Nigeria, Christian genocide, some people say,
right,
which is a much stronger word, and there were other incidents over the weekend, also in Kaduna State, southern Kaduna, or perhaps in other parts of the country. And the subtle reminder of this is that the Nigerian government has an obligation to live up to its duty, its commitment under Section 14 sub 2b of the Nigerian Constitution, which is the same phrase that we repeat every day so that, possibly somebody will understand the meaning.
All right.
That the security and welfare of the Nigerian people shall be the primary responsibility of the Nigerian government.
All right.
Perhaps if that is the case, Mrs. Alamu will not be thinking of leaving the teaching profession that she loves so much. Professor Alamu will not find himself in a situation where he will switch off his phone because of the trauma that he went through.
All right.
And their sons that appeared in that video will not be having anxieties about their future as Nigerians.
Thank you, Dr. Abati, for your submission. And may their souls rest in peace.